Well, here we are outside the library. Uh, Makes me think about those institutional spaces. How do they affect the work that we do? If we're working in the fluorescent lights instead of out in a place like this one with running water, a breeze that you probably hear in there in the mic, and just, gosh, it's nice out here. Well, so let's reflect. If you're not in a nice place yourself right now, remember one, think about one. So, Primitive Baptists, Patterson tells us, find the music that they create, and they create it to be distinctive and compelling. And note that Patterson doesn't say that the singing is compelling, but they find it so. And I would say they create it to be compelling and to act in the way that they feel like they need something to be in their lives. The set of variables that they use to make their particular style, it's repertory, pitch, harmony, rhythm, melody, and the ways that congregations develop their ways of singing to develop and create and shape their local identity. And the things that Patterson talks about that define Primitive Baptist practices in general. There's no instruments, all the church music is congregational song, like no solo singing. The particular order of worship and how the music fits into the larger service, and the method for choosing songs, and the doctrinal criteria for evaluating hymns. All this really hinges on the particular preferences that people have and their theological priorities and community priorities. I really am fascinated by the fact that many Primitive Baptist practitioners also play fiddle or banjo or other instruments, but they don't do it in church. The boundaries there are very strict. And Patterson talks about the use of a record player at a wedding to provide some fancy music, but the machine was not placed inside the worship place itself, but in a sort of vestibule, really outside of the main worship space. It was important to fence that part off. Again, I want to touch on the idea of gender, right? Women are a part of the singing in ways that they're not a part of other things, like preaching or parts of church authority that the male leaders have. But women freely request songs and are equals in some ways in the singing. And on page 192, Patterson says that Primitive Baptist singing offers no chances for men to engage in solo virtuosic performance as they do in other parts of regional music, like on the banjo or the fiddle or so on. So the playing field is a little more level in singing. I find it really interesting that Patterson talks about how both men and women, Primitive Baptists, are seeking signs of grace that encourage them that they have been predestined for salvation. And as a part of this predestinarian doctrine that's a part of their belief system. It really seems like singing is a part of the grace that they seek, create, and find. So I hope you find some grace this week and wherever you're seeking or singing, and you keep your ears open as you move on to the next module.